can see how soggy these bottoms are. Over here in this field, there's that old river bayou. He's coming through the field. You can see it's flooded out. You know, lowland flooding is really starting to occur. It's just around noontime. It's Friday today. I'll slow down here on the river. I don't know, this bridge will probably blow out of here in about 2 seconds. Dude, this don't look good. Yeah, the river's going out with the banks there. Not sure if this will show up or not as it's getting about 9 o'clock. Yeah, these bottoms are toast. We're gonna need to replant. Pretty neat looking though, the sunset on it. And more rain on the way. Well, as everybody knows, it's very wet outside, and as a lot of you are in the same boat as us, not all your crops are planted. So, what to do? Burning question, and with 3 more inches of rain on the way for Tuesday, and violent weather to boot, what to do becomes even a bigger question. So I think the 15th of the month is your replant date. So I've been reading about this morning, and the best I can tell, and I could be wrong, so I may have to correct this entire thing, but the best I can tell, once you take preventative planting on your acres, is that you're not allowed to plant it. So why would that be? Why could we get our probably couple $100, $200 to $300 for preventative planting, but then not be allowed to plant it? Why can't we go out in July 5th, make all the risk on our own, maybe use some replant seed of some sort that's, you know, maybe illegal to plant, like Roundup Ready 1s, and get low cost and see what we get. You know, have essentially no crop insurance on it. Let's see if we can still get something, you know, 35 to 40 bushel an acre, make a little bit more money. But from what I read, we're not allowed to do that. So again, I could be wrong, but it appears that the government has us down to say if you want to take preventative crop, then here's your chunk of change that we deem fit to your income, and that's all you're getting. Screw job. Hey, it's raining again. I put this video together in several clips over the past few days, and the creek's on the way up again. It's Tuesday today. I think the last video I took of flooding was Friday. It's raining again, and they're calling for some very severe weather this afternoon. Yay. Well, I've put this video together over several days, or clipped together over several days. During that course of time, we probably had 7 inches of rain, all combined up. So we've been doing a lot of things in the shop, including working on this baler. Did a bunch of organizing in this Morton building here. And this baler's had some trauma. So as you can tell, there's lots of tools laying everywhere and a few parts. So this baler is a 1290 HDP XC. That's not a high speed. This was a 2012 and 2013. Krone introduced what they call the high-speed versions, which had some pretty good upgrades on. How this baler works is your hay comes in through your header here. It goes into a chamber, which is called a pre-charge chamber. There's a set of bands here, and there's a floor down here, and that wraps all the way around and comes up to about here, which right back here, these things on a movable track called holdback fingers. And once that header pushes enough material in to that chamber that these holdback fingers get enough resistance on them, they trip like that. There's a mechanism on the right side of the machine. They trip, and it pushes the flake of hay up into this big box, which you can see these rollers here are sliding back and forth. That's your plunger. Smashes the bale, makes a bale. So Krone calls this thing a VFS, which if you want to look at it, it looks like a giant bean head reel, except obviously made out of very heavy metal. And this is the gearbox here on the left side that drives this VFS system. Now, we've come to conclude is prior to owning this, apparently a piece of metal has went in through the header. You can see where it's even nicked the flywheel, just a hint. Went in through the rotor, broke a couple things out on the stripper bar in there. proceeded to break the main grease line off. There's a shaft here on this gearbox, and there's a bearing that spins around it, and the bearing stays stationary. The grease goes through the hollow shafts out, and it goes to all these rollers on this VFS system, which again is like a bean head. You have to have a cam action. So when you broke the main grease line off, everything went dry. It also even broke off. Here's one of these ends of these tooths, so these are where the rollers go. And this thing here's a grease bearing on the end of each one of these reel arms. These have a little keeper to keep it rotating. This is all seized together, it's ruined. And here's the old rollers we've taken out. Most of them are actually just locked up. Two of them are so bad we had to actually weld these big bolts on them and extract them with a puller. This is an earlier model. Like I said, it's not a high speed, so we have a floor up here which has been removed, but you can see the outside, and then this one right here, you can't remove those are welded in. The rest are actually removable. The high speeds have opened all this up. They don't have this. These kind of go around and form a band. You can see right back there off the tip of my finger, that's where the band starts, that's what it attaches to, whereas a high speed, they have a different style floor plate in there. Anyway, so whenever this metal went in here, it's damaged this reel. It's even went back there. You can see a couple welds. And this big main gearbox, it evidently shock loaded it and broke the bottom bolt that holds it off. So I've contacted the dealer. They've stepped up to the plates and supplying me quite a few parts, because you know we bought used, but we didn't really buy damaged. And here I need to be dropping hay right now, which it's a good thing actually. In some ways I do have the bad weather, because it allows me a little more time to get this done. Now waiting on a few parts to come back. We got all this VFS put back together. All we do is put the bands back in and run through some grease lines, and the baler will be back ready to go. So all in all, it's still a good baler for what we paid for it. I'm happy with the dealer stepping up to the plate. I did not know about all the running serial number changes or all the changes when they went up to the high-speed versions. I didn't know about all that stuff being opened up, and I can see it's a big improvement on the newer models. And yeah, parts are high priced. We did buy that piece there ourselves. I mean, that one piece here, this outside piece, is $455. And the bearing, I think, on there, what they call a bearing, a grease bearing, was like $270 more. So it all adds up in a big hurry, but you know, we're getting it together. It's looking pretty good, so this thing will be in action soon. The damages that were in there are all repairable damages. You know, luckily nothing was to any of the frame or housing. The worst thing is getting that big bolt drilled out of that gearbox, but trip on some of the parts there, but it's coming together quite well. Here's a view from the top of that VFS system. There's bars with the teeth on it there. You can see that thing spins and the spiral wrap grease line around the center. So it's a real bear cat to work on, that's for sure. I did get my twine. Got a 550 knot strength twine. This was quite well recommended to me, so let's give it a try. Again, it's been raining, but we do need to spray more corn. We started spraying corn. This sprayer has been working great. Absolutely love the sprayer. High capacity, tractor handles look great. We can track the rows way better than we ever did with the High Boy. We had a 4700 which had small tires. The 4710s and on up had actually bigger rubber on them. But one problem we've had was the foamer on this thing has not been working. And I finally found out that the reason it wasn't working was because some stuff in the box was actually hooked up wrong. Their schematics they send out with it are not correct. And I just pressure checked and everything, ran through the system, figured it out on my own, and we they warranted a new pump, and we reversed it, and now it's working flawlessly. And yes, despite the fact we use GPS and auto track, I still use foam, especially towards like the end of a run you get done with, because it's a point of reference to counter your boom on. I don't like having to jump across any rows. I like to just have my point of reference and be able to turn around on it. And sometimes up here in the hills, your GPS, this is not square rectangle fields. This is adaptive curve style GPS works. So sometimes your GPS may not shoot a new line until you get lined up with it. So if you spray your outside borders and you turn around, it's not going to shoot a new line until you actually turn around. And again, it's just a point of reference. So with a combination of GPS and foamer, it's pretty foolproof. The shed looks big when you get it all emptied out. Moving things around, putting things away. Certain things are done for the year, other things are just beginning. But we're moving stuff around. Some equipment's cleaned up. I've never really had this shed 100% organized the way I like it, but after a few years of moving things around, also getting my fleet updated to the things I like and don't like, certain things are being sold, other things are being purchased. But the shed's getting organized well in the process. That's a lot of sweeping. But this whole area looks better. Yeah, bale trailer's coming together well. Not too much more. But got this thing ready to go to paint. That's our do not fall off the front. In case anything gets slippery, it won't come shifting off the front. And we got a big tether bar in there, if you can see it, that we're making. That'll hold it for the bolstering system, and a few tabs in the rear. A little bit of paint, ready to go. Alright, cool, my wheat's starting to head out. Not very tall, it hasn't been very warm either. Well, hopefully it makes something. Huh. Hey, what's that thing?